Manx Radio Sport.
A very good evening and welcome to what is the final Friday Sport preview of 2023. Rob Pritchard and the team with you here for the final time this calendar year, looking ahead to the sporting action this weekend. So, coming up tonight, will it be third time lucky to decide the second side to contest this year's Railway Cup final? The remaining semi-final and some crucial relegation battles in the Premier League awaiting the latest Manx football fixtures. Another big chance for Douglas on Merseyside this weekend ahead of Christmas, whilst the latest instalment of the Manx Shield awaits in the South on Saturday in rugby, and two of the Isle of Man's national hockey sides are in action tomorrow in the England Hockey Knockout Championships. That is all to come this evening. How time flies. Welcome to the final Friday Sport preview of 2023, and what a 12 months it has been, but still plenty of sporting action going ahead this weekend ahead of Christmas coming up very, very soon indeed. Let's take a look at the footballing side of things going into the weekend, and plenty of standout fixtures to talk about, and with me as always to go through them is Tony Mepham. Tony, very good evening to you.
Good evening, Rob, and weather conditions are a little bit better on a Friday night than we've been used to, so that's good news, and hopefully tomorrow full programme.
Absolutely. Well, let's take a look at that programme for Saturday and Sunday, starting with Saturday. And before we get to the league fixtures taking place, hopefully third time is the charm for the second Plum Properties Railway Cup semi-final, already postponed twice due to the weather conditions in recent weeks. Ayr United versus St Mary's. And Tony, there was originally a call to have this game put on at the Bowl, which is of course the home of St Mary's, just to make sure it went ahead if there was any more inclement weather. But we've been able to revert the fixture. The Isle of Man FA has been able to revert the fixture back to Ayr United this weekend.
Yeah, it was discussed last weekend because we knew that we're struggling with the weather at the moment, and certainly with Ayr United's pitch up there, it's pretty good, but it was struggling a little bit. But with the way the weather's gone this week, they just said, can we move it back? And it's in their hands because we have to indicate to them at lunchtime today. We've got the ball on backup if there is a monsoon that comes in tonight, but fingers crossed that's going to happen. But yeah, this game has gone back to Ayr United, 1:15 kickoff, and let's get the job done so we know where we're going on Boxing Day.
Absolutely. Well, taking a look at that match, Ayr United and St Mary's. Ayr United 4-1 winners at the Ball against St Mary's in the league recently, a game which you covered yourself personally. So is it still in Ayr United's hands with that great league run, or are St Mary's going to look at this and think league form goes out the window? We've got every chance here.
Yeah, I think it's league form goes right out the window, and you can see with Ayr United, I'm not saying, that the pitch, I know it's their home pitch, but the size of it and what they can get out of it, with the big long throws because it's narrow, will help them a little bit. But I watched that game at the Bowl, and I think St Mary's will take a lot from that first half. But it's the second half they sort of, I wouldn't say crumbled, but it didn't happen for them. And I think Alex Harrison will get that right. I don't know what his team information is, but I've got a little bit of team information for Ayr United, and Jamie Callister, who's instrumental at that back for them, won't be available. So that's going to make it a little bit easier for St Mary's to try and break down. But I'm just looking at the league tables. There's not a lot to choose from. I know there's a few points in it, but I'm still going to go for the league leaders and the joint league leaders, Ayr United, to take the victory.
Yeah, Peel just top ahead of Ayr United on goal difference at the moment. Ayr United with 2 games in hand on Peel, who've played 13. Let's take a look at the Canada Life Men's Premier League. All league games tomorrow, scheduled to kick off at 2 o'clock. We'll do 2 together on this one because there's 2 very big games toward the bottom of the table involving the bottom 4 sides. Braddon, they'll be hosting Union Mills, and St George's over at Glencrutchery Road are going to be hosting Marown. And points are so valuable in such a tight section of teams at the bottom of that table at the moment.
Yeah, it really is, and Union Mills have sort of come into that pack at the bottom. They've dropped, I wouldn't say alarmingly, because the performances have been pretty good. They just haven't been able to get the goals to get the points. But Braddon, again, they're finding it tough going. So I'm going to go for Union Mills to win this one. I think Paul Guyver's team knows how important it is. But Braddon have got talented young players in there. And if they can sort of get it together and hold their nerve, then they might be able to win it. But I'll go for Mills. St George's and Marown, as we expected. A lot of FC Isle of Man players will play tomorrow. Ben Wilkinson comes in. Jacob Cook comes in. Sean Quay, I know he's not FC Isle of Man, but Sean's a superb player. He plays. And welcome back Chris Bass. He's in the squad there tomorrow. So that's great news, not only for St George's, but great news for us all because I think Chris is one of our favourites and he's had a long-term injury. He's done and dusted and he will start tomorrow. So I think, David Brew's team are going to find it a little bit tougher tomorrow against St George's, and that's why I go for St George's to win.
Very well, and 2 other games taking place in the Canada Life Men's Premier League tomorrow. One up at Glen Road here. This could be potentially intriguing given the home side's home form. Laxey up against Ramsey. Yeah,
and I think this is going to make for a really good game, but I've seen Laxey's squad availability and I think they're pretty well full strength from what I can see. So a little bit of dilemma for Johnny Palmer tonight to have a little look what is going to be his best starting lineup. But Ramsey, the team's going well. They're still third in the league. They're a little bit sort of struggling up front at the moment with goals, but hopefully that'll come right for them. But I'm going to go for Laxey because Laxey were expected, weren't they, to be in the Railway Cup. They haven't made it this year, and I think tomorrow they'll just sneak the points away from Ramsey.
And Ramsey, if they did win, they'd actually go to within 2 points of the current joint league leaders, Ayr United and Peel. So those are the other games, I should say, in the Canada Life Men's Premier League is a bit of a Bala-Fletcher derby. Really not too far to travel for either side with this one, is there? Corinthians at home to Douglas Royal.
Yeah, and the pitch will be fine. It's just one of those that when there's a bit of rain coming down, it sits there and then it disperses. So we'll get it vertigrade after New Year. But against Douglas Royal, it's a local derby and it's always a battle. Michael Fitzmaurice' team will be looking to take the points away from them. Corinthians have an awful lot of quality available tomorrow. Well done, Ben. Qualtro, see who's going to pick out of that one. And I know he's 1 or 2 players missing. But every sort of one that plays for FC Alaman can play tomorrow because they haven't reached that criteria of 11 games. So I haven't got any team news, but I'm certain that Ben will pick the players who normally play if they're available. But I know there's 1 or 2 not tomorrow, but I'll go for Corinthians to win.
Very well, then we take a look at DPS Limited Division 2, an opportunity for some of those promotion-chasing sides right in the mix, the likes of Castletown, Colby, Michael, Onken, to try and maybe make up some ground on Foxdale, who don't have a game this weekend. So, Tony, talk us through these 5 fixtures in DPS Limited Division 2.
Yeah, Castletown against Douglas and District. You have to go with Castletown, the second in the league, played 11, 26 points, as where D&D are in 9th position. So I think Castletown will be too strong. Onken against Maloo. It's always a good game up at the stadium. I love that ground. I know it might be a little bit soft tomorrow, but I always like playing at the stadium. So you've got to go with Onken to win that one. Governors Athletic against Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys. This is at Colby. Governors Athletic are playing really well. I'm going to go for a draw in this one, Rob. Michael against Jims. Michael still pushing at the top of the table. They've got to keep winning. Michael to win. And Colby against Douglas High School Old Boys. They've got to be careful of this one, Colby, because Douglas High School Old Boys have started creeping up the table, but they're still points behind. Colby to win, though.
Douglas High School Old Boys beat Castletown in the last game as well.
Yep.
No mean feat in DPS Limited Division 2. OK, looking into the combination leagues, let's start off with Canada Life Combination 1. 5 games there this weekend.
There is, and Union Mills against Braddon. I'm going to go for Union Mills to take victory in that. Ramsey against Laxey. Ramsey really pushing at the top of the table here. St Mary's all the way. They've got 2 games in hand. If they won them, they go top. So I'm going to go for Ramsey to take the victory. Russian against Ayr. Russian flying last week. It's a real strong team there. I think it was just a blip at the start of the season for them. I've done a bit of calculation on it, Rob, and if they can beat St Mary's again and pick up another win then and win all the games, they've got a chance of winning this league. So I'm going to go for Russian. Peel against St Mary's. St Mary's will be too strong. St Mary's take victory. And Douglas Royal against Corinthians. I think Corinthians young lads are gathering a bit of momentum here, so I'm going to go for Corinthians.
And last but certainly not least, on Saturday we have 5 games in DPS Limited Combination 2.
Yeah, and it's a good battle going on in Combination 2 as well. Douglas and District against Castletown to win. Maloo against Onken. I'll go with Onken to take victory. Ramsey Youth Centre against Governors. Definitely Ramsey Youth Centre. Jims, Jims against Michael. Go for Jims. Just and Old Boys against Colby. I'm going to go for Old Boys.
And then into Sunday, we have a double header of fixtures in the Canada Life Women's Floodlit Cup. Once again, we have a Southern Derby, really, Maloo versus Castletown. That'll be the 2:10 kick-off at the ball, and then straight after at 20-4 is the big one again, Corinthians versus Peel. And Corinthians, of course, dominant in recent years, but Peel got one over on them already this season.
Yeah, I didn't want you to get too much momentum there because we've lost both these games now. The problem is, and we accept that, there was no fixtures down for the 17th. Castletown couldn't field a team because of works dues. Peel against Corinthians, they have the same situation. So we've had to honour it because we didn't have any fixtures on. So those 2 games have gone.
Very well. Well, just looking back on Saturday's fixtures very quickly, you've alluded to it already, I think, particularly when you talked about the St George's Moran game. Yep. The FC Isle of Man players now, of course, FC Isle of Man, they don't have a game now this weekend. That was postponed due to their opponents who were due to visit the island this weekend, Ramsbottom United, their commitments in the FA Vars this weekend. So, although we don't have all the team news across the board, I guess, how much of an impact could that have on these fixtures this weekend if those players from FC Isle of Man are eligible and are available to play?
Yeah. It's going to have a massive impact because, when you look at Corinthians' last game, they got beat 7-0 by Peel. Peel are a really good side. So I would think that Ben Qualtrough will bring in 1 or 2 players. But, when you look at Ramsey, you've got Jamie Collett who'll come back in. You've got Charlie Higgins who'll probably come back in, so that helps them. Laxey, Tiernan Garvey, he's played before when they haven't played. And this is a difficult situation. And I'm going to be honest on it. It's hard to take for the clubs who haven't got any players who are expecting to have a closer game. And then suddenly when you look at St George's and Moran, when you're bringing people like Ben in and Ben Wilkinson and Jacob Crook and the other 2, they don't play for FC Isle of Man. It does change it a little bit and it gives a massive discussion point, but it is what it is. The criteria was put in place of how many games the players had to play by the clubs. And so a lot of those players won't meet that criteria, so they're allowed to play.
It's a debate that has rumbled on since FC Isle of Man's inception with different views on differing sides, and it will likely be the case, you would think, going into the immediate term. And I'm going to ask you this question again. I've been asking you week after week after week, and just in case anyone's missed it, just for clarity, should tomorrow's Plum Properties Railway Cup semi-final go ahead, does the plan remain to have the Railway Cup final take place on Boxing Day?
Definitely. We've got the bowlers back up tomorrow, so if there is a problem, we'll move it to the bowl. I spoke to Ayr United about that, and, I understand the point that they want to play on the home ground, but, yeah, we're going to play it on Boxing Day.
Wonderful. Tony, thank you very much.
Fingers
and we'll
crossed.
be catching up with you again tomorrow.
Manx Radio Sport.
Well, this weekend sees the final Manx rugby action of the calendar year, with still plenty of points and pride at stake going towards the turn of the year. Douglas will be eyeing success as they travel to Merseyside in the Regional 2 Northwest tomorrow. Meanwhile, the Ravenscroft Manx Shield continues down in the south of the island. Our rugby correspondent Dave Christian rates Douglas's chances of a result tomorrow and what Saturday's sole local fixture has to offer.
We start, as always, at the top of the tree, which is Douglas. It's the 3rd leg of their 3 big games in the run-up to the Christmas break. 2 weeks ago, we had a win against Winnington Park. Last week, a postponement against Kirkby Lonsdale. This week, it's the 3rd game. It's against a Liverpool St Helens, who are second from bottom. That's in 11th place, Douglas in 10th. 5-point gap Douglas have on them. Not a particularly brilliant record against Liverpool St Helens either. I think they've played 7 times and Liverpool St Helens won 5 out of those. The most recent back in September when they won by 4 points at Portashee in a really, really tight game. Since then though, Liverpool St Helens not gone so well and they find themselves a little bit in the doldrums. Douglas got a little bit of breathing space just above them, and they do have that home fixture against Kirkby Lonsdale in the bank if it is needed come the end of the season. Looking at Liverpool St Helens' results, they have beaten Douglas. They've only got 2 wins from 11, Douglas being one of those. They've had some fearful beatings though. There's a couple of 60-pointers in their results. That gives them the rather honourable title, or dishonourable title, whichever way you look at it, of the team with the leakiest defence in the league. Douglas's defence is actually quite tight. They've got all those losing bonus points as well. They're pretty close to turning a corner, in my view at least. They just haven't quite turned it yet, and every time I mention it, they don't turn it again. Full strength team, pretty much. They've gone with exactly the same team as last week, apart from one change. James Good is going to come in the back row and place of Percy Hampton. But other than that, it's an identical team that was going to play Kirkby Lonsdale. That's going to be good for Douglas. We always say consistency and team selection is important. Players to watch out for, well, Blake Snell, the skipper, in the second row. Liam Kirkpatrick, big man at number 8. The half-back pairing, Luke Highland at 10, Kyle Martin at 9. Those two, Luke Highland's got the guile and Kyle Martin has the pace. Strong bench as well, Owen Carvin, Wilfie Kermode and Shay Waterworth on the bench. That'll give Douglas plenty of options should they need them. I reckon we're going to see Douglas come back with 4 points, maybe 5, but stranger things have happened here. And Coach Phil Kringle pulling his hair out at times. It's easy to play well. It's not easy to play well and win. They've been playing well. They just haven't got the wins. But those will come. I think they're not too far away from it. And I said I'm backing them for a win tomorrow. The only other fixture this weekend, it's Castletown versus Southern Nomads. It's the Ravenscroft Manx Shield. It's at Paulson Park, Castletown, a 2:15 kickoff. If I can make it down there in time up here from the frozen north, we will be covering that one for Saturday Live. It should be a Nomads win. We do have somebody big against somebody small. Castletown, without being disrespectful to them, have struggled for the last couple of seasons. I know they're a bit short on numbers tomorrow, but there'll be some lads coming from probably Douglas Vagabonds and maybe Ramsey as well, just to help them out. And I'm pretty certain we get a game on down there at Paulson Park. Should be a Nomads win on paper. Nomads, remember, still got a little bit of skin in the game in the Cheshire Bowl, but even then that's going to be tough for them because they're relying on somebody else winning and somebody else losing if they want to progress to the final. But that's all to come after the Christmas break. Tomorrow should be a Nomads win.
Manx Radio Sport.
And finally tonight we turn to hockey, and whilst the domestic leagues have now paused ahead of the Christmas break, two of the Isle of Man's national sides are in action this weekend. The ladies' A and B teams are home and away respectively in the latest England Hockey Knockout Championship fixtures on Saturday. As usual, we've got the thoughts of our hockey correspondent Ben Cunningham this week on the weekend's cup ties. What's more, as we approach the end of the year, I also got his thoughts on what might be in store once we get into 2024. So when it comes to hockey, although the mixed hockey season for 2023 may have just finished, there are still 2 games to be played ahead of the Christmas break, and they focus on the ladies' national squads. The Ladies A and Ladies B in action in the respective England Hockey Knockout Championship competitions. Let's start with the Ladies A team to start with. They'll be on home soil at the NSC up against Timperley Ladies Seconds in the Tier 2 knockout competition, Ben. And this is a ladies team that seems to have a nice blend of both experience and quality in that squad as well.
Absolutely, yeah, you've hit the nail right on the head there. A team full of youth and experienced players as well that have played in the island teams for numerous years. Some are playing their first year in the island teams. Really good to see the ladies getting not 1 but 2 ladies teams out in the competition, so it's great to see, and it gives Manx Hockey such a good name. And of course, being on home soil, we've provided the umpires as well, so Louise Corkill and Andrew Whiting are going to be umpiring it, representing the Manx Hockey Association, with John Whiting on the tech desk. And
for the ladies as well, in their competitions in the England hockey setup, if you like, last season, got quite far as well. So it's not beyond the realms at all of this ladies A squad to go quite far into this competition.
Absolutely not. And like you say, they proved really good last season. So let's hope that they can match last season's and maybe go one step better this season.
Let's take a look at the Ladies B then. They're actually on their travels. They'll be heading over to Merseyside to take on Liverpool Sefton Seconds in the Tier 3 Knockout Championship. And something you alluded to just a moment ago, Ben, the fact that the Isle of Man has 2 ladies teams across these competitions this campaign shows the depth of quality that the Isle of Man has in ladies hockey right now, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. You can't put it any better than that, really. 2 island ladies teams. It really does show that the future of Manx hockey, especially the ladies side of things, are looking really good. This is going to be a really good game because there's a few new names that have come into this team this season. A few young ones as well making their senior debuts for the island. So, I'm sure they'll be nervous, but they'll also make sure that they go out there and represent the Isle of Man proud. And we're pleased to say that Blake Hayne, who is across now at uni, is going to umpire to represent the Manx Hockey Association at that game as well. And
as you mentioned, for some new faces in that squad as well, this is a different competition to what they'll experience on the Isle of Man. How valuable is it in developing as a player to get these opportunities, particularly if it's for the first time?
Absolutely, it's going to be a huge step up for them because the pace is going to be a lot faster, and the game's just going to be a lot more quicker. So it's going to be a real good test for them, and a test which I'm sure that they'll go out there and put a good effort in for.
Well, those are the games this weekend. Well, with this being the last Friday Sport preview of 2023, I wanted to get your thoughts on what has been another busy calendar year for hockey, both in the men's and ladies divisions, the indoor leagues, and obviously the mixed season in 2023, which has just recently finished this month as well. So starting with the men's and ladies seasons, just very quickly, what were your particular highlights from that?
Last season, really good. A few surprise packages from a few teams. I will mention Castletown, yes, because as our predecessor Sam Spooner says, don't rule out a Castletown team. But yeah, it was really interesting to see how some teams proved a shock over some of the teams which I thought, they're going to win that one comfortably. To
take just two examples, let's look at the men's and women's Premier League. Start with the women's Premier League, and a team you pointed out just then, Castletown winning the women's Premier League last season, and were there many people who saw that coming? Incredible performance from them.
I didn't see it coming at all, and I will admit that. I didn't think I'd be saying Castletown Hockey Club Ladies A were going to be the champions, but they did. Yeah, they put a sterling effort in. They did absolutely, and they beat Vikings as well along the way, which is a real tough ask because Vikings ladies have been phenomenal all year, years and years and years. But yeah, Castletown ladies proved a good shock last year, and I reckon they're going to be up for it again this coming year.
And in the men's Premier League, Backers A continuing their dominance at the top of that table, winning the title once again. What makes them such a solid outfit and keeps them in this great period of success in the men's top flight?
They stick together as a team and they work together as a team is the way I see it. They've got a vast squad as well, so if there's players unavailable, they've got players in their reserves basically which can fit straight in. And also Backers, they're absolutely phenomenal going forward. They're really deadly going forward, and they will punish any little mistakes, and that's really what gives them the edge over any team, because even though they might be 3-1 down, they still keep going and they have that drive.
Well, that's it for Friday Sport Preview, not just for this week, but for 2023. Thank you very much for joining myself, along with my guests as ever, Tony Mepham, Dave Christian and Ben Cunningham. Don't forget, though, with the weekend sporting action going ahead, Saturday Sport Classified on Manx Radio DAB and AM 1368 from 5pm tomorrow with Dave Moore and the team, and also throughout the day with Saturday Live with Paul Moran here on Manx Radio as well. But from the Friday Sport Preview team, all that's left for me to do is wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Looking forward to see you once again in 2024. From me, until next time, it's bye for now.
Manx Radio Sport.